Hello, welcome back. Um, I did some stuff off camera for this one because there was a lot of issues getting this to work, and I spent 2.5 hours worth of video not having this working, and it really frustrated me. And who wants to sit through all that? So I deeply apologize for it taking so long, but you got to see a lot of debugging, a lot of figuring out server stuff, and that's just kind of how it goes. Sadly, we spend a lot of time just trying to get what should be a really simple thing to work. So that's over. I got that all working. Basically, I was not connecting the. I needed to use a different mode in um, the Docker the Docker stuff to when I run the container. I needed to use the net host so that it mapped basically it mapped all the stuff like localhost and the loopback IP and all that stuff and all the ports and everything. It mapped it all to the container for it to read so that it could find um, the database and then I could connect to it. And then it was pretty smooth sailing after that. Then I just went on to the blog and I gave uh, you know correct blog IDs to everything, and now we're back to actually some working code. So now we can. What I did was for the IDs, I used this new key function, which you guys are welcome to come into the site and use. Basically, it's an extremely fast non-looping GUID generation method. I've used it in other projects and other places, and it's a phenomenal little method. I can't remember. I would if I could find the original writer of it, I would definitely credit them. If you know who wrote this, please let me know, and I'll make sure to announce it. But this has been an extremely helpful little function. So if you just go onto my site and you just do new key, it'll generate out a GUID for you. In MySQL, you'll know this is a UUID. Basically, it's just a unique identifier, and it uses the random method, so it doesn't use any timestamps or things like that. It's just completely random, completely yeah. But it's really nice how it does so well at generating these GUIDs. And again, it's non-looping, so it literally it calls the function 4 times, passes in a boolean, and spits out a bunch of numbers and stuff. So it's full hexadecimal, and very very useful tool to just come up with random IDs that you don't want to be numerical or keep track of and stuff like that. So if you're looking for a GUID generator, this is a great one, and I use it on my site. So just yeah, come in, steal the function, but I didn't write it. If I could find out who did, I would definitely credit them. Okay, so now that we are done with things not working, and I now have correct hit counts, I need to do two things. So one, I'd like to display the hit count somewhere here under the post itself so that I can kind of see what's going on. So in order to do that, I do not want to increment the hit if the count has been, or if somebody makes it to this page, I don't want all of them to increment. So I do need a separate function to just get the hit. I don't know if I'm going to add that in, but I do want to add the function. If I could spell nitrous, I do want to add the function to just read it, and basically probably what I'll do is I'll display for now. I might need to optimize this a little later on, but I think a really simple way to do this at the moment is let's see, cd workspace and blog backend. Okay. A really simple way is to just have it return a list of all of them mapped to their IDs. So we'll just do that, and then I can pull that in later on. Let's see. So we're going to go into our home controller, and we're going to add a new method, and it's going to be a get, and we'll get hits, I think is what I want to call it. And so we'll call it def, and hits. And basically what we want to do is hit dot all, and that's going to return us our hits. And then there's really not too much to this. We're going to return, well, we don't really need to return. We're just going to render JSON, or is it? I think it's a symbol, JSON. No, it is. Okay, render JSON and then basically hits. It's you know, it might even be a little too much info, because we really just want the, what's the map syntax? Ruby, no, Rails map. Okay, what's the syntax? Why does it say map here, but then it gives examples of .collect? I mean, collect should work. Let's see, can we find a better documentation example? Ah, yeah. Well, for the moment, let's just return hits. And so we need to add a route for this. So we're going to go into our route config, and we're going to do get hits, and that'll map to home hits, which should return our stuff. So we save this. We're going to run the server, Rails S, bind it to the right address. I'm going to open my Postman. Very helpful. Let's hit preview as soon as it finishes. Make it a GET request, hits, send, and it gives us back our stuff. And what I was talking about was really all I want is the post ID, and then the, which I don't see, oh, because this is our test database, that's right. So we want our post ID, and then we want our count, and that's really all we're after here. It's going to give us back our created at, updated at, and stuff, and that's really not what we currently want. And so that's what I was looking for in here, was to it was to map some of this stuff. So well, let's see if we can do some of this. We'll try map, and map will give us so like for here we could do post ID, right? And that should give us back, let me actually save that. And now that should give us back a list of all the post IDs that we have saved, which is okay, but we do need more info than just that. So I think we can pass a block into map, and then we can say return X. Well, we want, there's a little more to this. We want to do a little more than just return the post ID. So I'm going to see if we can use this syntax, and we'll just create a new object. Yeah, I've been living out in JavaScript too long. Rails.collect. See how that works. What's pluck do? That looks interesting. Pluck. Pluck is on the DB level. It'll query a particular field. Can we... Aha! Perfect. This is what we're looking for. So this is the method we want to use. Perfect. Okay. So actually we can do this all in one line now. And actually we could do this all in one line. So hit dot pluck, and we want back the post ID and the what was the other thing? The count. And now we should be able to just do render JSON of that. And this is part of the beauty of Ruby and Rails, is that you can do really simple things, or sometimes somewhat complex things, in one line. And it's still readable, and it still makes sense what you're trying to do. So this isn't quite the, this kind of sort of works for what we want, but not really. I wish that there was a label instead of just, oh, well, the first item of the array is the ID and the second item is the count. So I do wish that that was a little different. So, wonder if there's a... yeah, in the example here it even shows let's see, Rails map multiple fields, more than one attribute. New object from Ruby I think I just go new object, right? Probably. Usually is. Let's give it a shot. So we refactor this and you show that you can do a lot of things in one line, but it's not as this is expressive. This does tell other developers and stuff exactly what I meant, exactly what I want to do. This makes a lot of sense, and this is awesome. However, we want it. Our JSON is not very expressive and doesn't show what we mean, and so I'd like a little more expressiveness within that. So we are going to use the map, and as we saw from that example, we will go back to, I guess, what my original plan was, and we want to do obj equals object dot new, and then we should be able to just say obj dot post id equals x dot post id, and then obj dot count equals x dot count, and close the block, erase the code that we no longer need, and hope that this works. So we hit send again, and we get back an error. No method error. Oh, because we didn't actually get anything. So we need to do hit.all .map, and that will might work a little better. Undefined method post ID for object. Okay, yeah, the object doesn't have a post ID, therefore it doesn't like that. Okay, so well, what I can do is I could create a class that handles this, or I could even go with the there's this really nice feature of Rails specifically that you can create these they're called JBuilders. So we'll do hits.json.jbuilder, and basically they kind of work like views, except that you can do JSON. Let's see. I always forget the syntax for it. So JBuilder. Go in here. Let's look up some documentation. And basically, you can do things like this. So JSON.author do, and then blah. So you could do, I believe it's JSON.array comments do comment. So this is a little closer to what we want. So we'll flip back over and we can do JSON.array exclamation point, and we'll do hits, right? Hits do, and then pass in a block of a hit. And then we can do JSON dot whatever and JSON dot whatever, and we get back exactly what we want. So we'll we need JSON post ID and JSON dot count, and so post ID is going to be hit dot post ID, and then this is going to be hit dot count. And then we can end that block. We'll save that file. We'll go back to this file, and now all we need to do is just hit.all. And that will return it. Actually, we need to do, hits equals hit.all, because we need to make a class instance variable that will pass down into here. Okay, so once we do that, then we can go in here, and we might get an error. Nope, this is exactly what we want. So here now we have post ID 1, count 2. Really simple way to do that. So now we've got this working. So I can tie this in. I'll do that in a future episode. But the other thing I wanted to do is add in subscriptions. So if so you guys that are watching these videos might want to get an email or something when I release a new video. So what I would like to do is basically build up a list of emails so that I can process this. So there's still going to be, because this isn't, this API doesn't actually handle the entire site itself. There, at the moment, I'm just going to be collecting email addresses, and then I'll be figuring out a good way that's secure, so you guys don't get spam emails from people, to trigger all this stuff and have that fire off without with some sort of authentication. So at some point I'm going to have to add a user, and that user needs to have credentials so that I can send across this information correctly. But we're going to go ahead and create the method that'll do it. So we're going to do def, and we will do subscribe. And subscribe is going to be a post request. Post subscribe, and then it'll have the email on it. So simple enough method, right? So in order to save that information, however, we do need email addresses. So we're going to stop the server, and we need to do Rails generate model, and we'll call it a subscription, since that's really what it is. Oh, and I forgot to put fields on it, but if you do that, that just means you have to add them manually to the migration. It's not that big a deal, and we'll go through that process. So that spits out a migration inside of the database here. Creates subscriptions. As you can see, it has it'll have an ID on it and the timestamps like usual, but that's really all it has at the moment. So what we do want is a email, so t.string and email, and I'm going to do the same thing where I do null false so that I never get a blank email inside the database. So that's really all I need to hold for this subscription model at the moment. Not too much to do. So we're going to go ahead and save that in the database. So we will do rake db migrate in order to add that subscription model to the database. And then we'll hop back over. Well, let's add the route in. So we'll do post subscription for subscribe, right? Subscribe, and then we will do oh yeah, email. That's right. Okay, so now that we've got that in, simple enough. We will just do if. So we need validations on the model, and one of the validations I want to put on the model is that it needs to be unique. So I don't want more than one person's email in there at any given time. So go to models. I don't know why my mouse is jumping around today. And we'll look up validations again. And we're looking for the unique validation. Errors, acceptance, associated, confirmation, exclusion, format, inclusion, length, numericality, presence, absence, uniqueness. Here we go. This is what we want. Okay, so this is, look, that's exactly what we want, right? So we need to validate for the presence and the uniqueness of an email. Okay, just looking at a couple things. Need to see if wanted to see if I could chain these together. I might be able to. Okay, so we'll go back and basically validates uniqueness and then presence. We also want to make sure that there is in fact an email that's coming in on the model. So that's really all we need for the model. Really simple. We'll close all that stuff out and we'll come back to our home controller, and then we just do, because the model is going to handle that for us, we can just do subscription dot new and then so this is we'll just call it sub, and then sub dot email equals params email, and then if sub dot save, so if it's successful, we are going to return let's see, render head okay. That's not a method. Return head okay, and then if it's not successful in returning, then we're going to return render head. Actually, return is not needed. Keep this as simple as possible. We will return back. What are we going to call it? What are the codes? Let's see. Rails not found. So I'm using this technique of finding things by finding. I know that this one exists. So if I click on it, it should take me someplace where I can find, hopefully, a link, which I think there was one down here, to something that shows me all of the available ones. Rendering file, rendering text, XML, JSON, template, JavaScript. Here, list of status codes and their symbols. So we want one that kind of tells us I'm used. That seems to work, actually. I don't know if that is used in the right context, but I'll go with it. Because it's not an error. It shouldn't return an error. It should just say that permanently not modified, temporary redirect, payment required. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. So we'll copy that over, and we'll bring this over here, delete that, and say I'm used. Okay, then we just end our block, and it should be simple enough, right, to test. So we need to get a post request, and we're going to pass in the key is going to be email, right? This is also going to be subscribe. Oh yeah, with post requests, we're actually not going to have the email on here. We're just going to say subscribe, and we're going to pass the email in. It's kind of more of the common way of doing this, and that's also the way that Angular is going to handle it. So we want to make that match. But because we changed that, we also need to change our route to reflect that. Oh, and I didn't point it at anywhere, so that's also not good. Home, and then subscribe. Okay. Come back over here. Right. Okay. So we're back here, and I will use my email. Yahoo. And send, and we get back, nothing's running on this server. Are you sure you know what you're doing? That's because we stopped the server, so we will... Oh, no, we don't want to regenerate the model. Thank you for... Sometimes errors are good to accidentally... or to prevent you from accidentally doing something you didn't want to do. Okay, so we'll try this again. Send a post request, and we get back uninitialized constant subscription. Okay. Misspelling. Subs. Okay, that would probably do it. So we send again, and we get back double render error. Render head. Let's see. Render and or redirect were called multiple times in this action. Please take note, you may only call render or redirect at most once per action. Also note that neither redirect nor render will terminate execution of the action, so if you want to exit an action after redirecting, you need to do something like redirect to and return. I guess render gets called at the end of it, so if we escape out, maybe we do need the return keyword. So we will return, and, well, I like that. We'll use that other syntax and return. One of the nice things about Ruby. Kind of a really nice syntactic sugar. So we try this again, and we still get the double render error. But this time it says, hey, I'm used. So I don't know why we're getting a double render error. Because we're saying and return. So it should return out, and we only call render once. This is strange. I've not been having a lot of luck with Rails recently, have I? Return. Double render error in home controller subscribe. Very strange. Why? Oh, is it because render and head? Do I not need to render head? I think that's it. I think I just call head. Yeah, you can see up here. Aha. Well, that would do it. Bang. So this time we got 226 okay. Has fulfilled a GET request for resource, and the response is a representation of the result of one or more instance manipulation multiple. Okay. So, that worked. So now we need to confirm that if we use a different email address, like not real, we will get back a regular 200, send it again, and we get a 226. Great. So that's more or less the behavior that I want, because if you enter your email into the subscription box, and you click OK, the first time I want it to say, you subscribe, and then the second time it should just not save it in the database, but still say you subscribed. So that's going to be a nice feature on there, and then I can build some methods in here that will let me send emails. So we added 2 methods this time. That's looking pretty good, and we'll see if we can build this subscription box into the front end next time.